Hello and welcome to Transfermarkt TV. My name's Stefan Bienkowski. I'm once again joined by Euan Robertson and Ben Littlemore, and today we are talking about Tottenham. High-flying Tottenham, who've certainly stolen quite a lot of the headlines, looked like one of the most engaging, energetic, fun teams in the Premier League this season, but recently they've maybe began to slow down a little bit. After a 2-2 draw with Everton at the weekend, they dropped out of the top four, and they've been really struggling to kind of keep a hold of that ever since then. They're 8th in the Premier League form table, if I'm not mistaken, over the last 5 match days. And you've wrote a great piece for Transfermarkt this week, really diving into the stats behind those performances, and got a really impressive and, in my opinion, very convincing theory as to why Tottenham are kind of dropping points where maybe their top 4 contenders aren't.
Yeah, well, I mean, ultimately, Tottenham's Achilles heel this season has been conceding late goals. It's quite remarkable that 25% of the goals that the Tottenham conceded this season have came in second half stoppage time after 90 minutes, which is it's remarkable. The 9 goals they conceded in that time is the highest in the league, and it has cost them. Recently, obviously, with the game against Everton at the weekend, dropped 2 points when Jared Branthwaite equalised, and famously the game against Wolves, when they conceded twice after 90 minutes to lose that game and therefore drop 3 points. So they dropped 5 points in total in second half stoppage time this season. You should caveat that by saying they have actually won 6 points in added time. But I mean, as the piece goes on to explain, they have lost 18 points from winning positions this season, which is quite a lot, and it's more builds into the fact that they don't ever look comfortable really when holding a league. There's a sense of kind of vulnerability there, and there's numerous factors why that is. I think one is Postecoglou's high octane style of play, and he doesn't really have the players yet off the bench. He's had injuries and he's had players away at AFCON to really bring on and keep the same quality on the pitch. You should remember he's less than a year into the job, so I think that will change more in his second season.
Yeah, absolutely. That's probably a good way to kind of transition this discussion onto Ben here, because Ben, if you'd asked Tottenham fans, 6 months ago, they'd be sitting 5th, 2 points off 4th place, with a new manager in charge after losing Harry Kane, they would have bite your arm off for that. But we're now in this position, and it's the fascinating thing about football, that context changes everything, and they now almost look like a team who are kind of trying to hold on to that top 4 finish. But, we look at the league table, they've got a really impressive Aston Villa side, 2 points above them. They've got Man United, West Ham, Brighton, Newcastle, Wolves. You can even go down to 11th in Chelsea, obviously high-spending Chelsea, as the other kind of contenders for that 4th spot, if you will. How do you kind of look at Tottenham amongst that group of contenders? And do you think they've got more about them than maybe those other teams to actually last the pace and go on and finish 4th this season?
I think they would definitely have to be considered as one of the favourites to take that 4th or maybe even 5th position that might get Champions League next season. I think there are certainly vulnerabilities in their team, and highlighted by Euan's statistic that they've lost 18 points from winning positions, and I'm not surprised by that at all. I think what you can say about Ange Postecoglou is there's a clear style, which is great, and it's a very entertaining attacking style, which is brilliant for supporters, particularly supporters that have had to watch Antonio Conte and Jose Mourinho football over the last few seasons. But it is quite one-dimensional, and Ange Postecoglou himself has said he's not going to change that style of play. So they're going to drop points from winning positions because they're not going to close up games. He says they're going to continue with that high line. I think they're in a great position to take that 4th and 5th spot because, as I touched on, I don't think anyone around them is particularly consistent. Man United losing Lisandro Martinez is going to be a big blow for them. I think Brighton on their day can beat anyone and look amazing, but then they go and lose 4-0 to Luton. They have that in them. So I think Tottenham are very well placed to take one of those Champions League positions, but I certainly think there's a lot to play for, and it's certainly not sure.
Yeah, quite fascinatingly, Euan, you actually wrote a piece at the start of the season before the kind of Ange Postecoglou bonanza got into full swing, talking about his record at Celtic, the pros and the cons, and without just simply saying "I told you so," you did almost predict this by looking at how his Celtic team played over the years.
Yeah, also I followed Ange Postecoglou at Celtic very closely, and he enjoyed almost complete dominance domestically in Scotland, but against European teams there was often the accusation of naivety, and Postecoglou is very stubborn. He's going to stick to the style of play. It's a really exciting style, attacking, front foot, pressing, but it does leave them susceptible defensively at times. I think that will perhaps be exposed more against better teams. Obviously in Scotland, Celtic were pretty much every week you play against far inferior sides, but in England, those tactics will be tested more. I think it's had a transformative effect on Spurs. The mood change at the club's completely different. After 3 pragmatic managers and Conte, Mourinho, and Nuno, Postecoglou is completely different. The fans are behind him. They're playing a really exciting brand of football, but that's maybe one drawback to his style. He's not going to shut up shop. He's not going to park the bus at all. It's quite interesting though, because he has brought on the new signing Dragon in recent weeks, kind of short up with defence, but it's not really didn't work at the weekend. But yeah, it's interesting with Spurs because they became the first team in Premier League history this season to fail to win 5 games in a row to the lead in. It's a weakness, but they have been in the lead in 20 games this season. So they're a fascinating team to watch. They're probably one of the most exciting teams to watch. I do think they will secure Champions League football this season under Ange Postecoglou ultimately.
Yeah, it'll be absolutely fascinating to watch over the next coming weeks and months and towards the end of the season. Undoubtedly one of the main contenders for top 4 spot, but we'd love to hear what some Tottenham fans think. Obviously it's very entertaining, great start to the season, but do you think the wheels will begin to fall off? Do you think things will turn around and you think they'll start moving back up the league table? Let us know in the comments below, and for everything else you can of course head to Transfermarkt for all your stats, all your data, and all your Premier League coverage. But until then, thanks for watching, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll speak to you soon.